of y'all watched and suffered through last night's Raiders Broncos matchup? God bless you. Unfortunately, I will be recapping that game because it was a game, it was an NFL game, but it was all you could do to stay awake on that game. But I'll recap it for you. Plus, today is Pick'em Friday. Well, I'll pick my 5 or 6 best games from week 11 in the college football uh, schedule for this weekend, and I'll pick all the rest of the NFL games for week 10. We're gonna do all that here today in the Sports Ozone. Big O with a big mouth coming at you for an Pick'em Friday, November 7th, 2025. And before I get into the game and the picks, I have to give a moment to pay my respects and send my condolences, and prayers to the family of Dallas Cowboys defensive tackle Marshawn Nealon. And as you probably already know, that the young man Marshawn Nealon took his own life 2 days ago after a chase by after a wreck after he was being chased by the local police in Dallas, Texas. And apparently he allegedly committed suicide. It's crazy. He played this past Monday and he recovered the block punt for the touchdown for Dallas Cowboys against the Arizona Cardinals just this past Monday night. It serves as a reminder that we all are going through something. We all are. Mentally, emotionally, we are all going through some form of stress, anxiety, if you will. And you have to get help. If you know you're going through something up here and in here, you gotta get some help. Taking your own life is not going to answer that problem. All it does is just make a lot of people that love and care about you miss you that much more and wonder what they could have done to help you. And then they have to live with the what ifs and what happens and what if we did this and what if we did that? Why didn't we see the signs? So I beg you, all out there listening, watching, if you're going through it, there's no problem whatsoever in getting some help. Again, my condolences and my prayers go out to Marshawn Nealon's family and friends and his teammates. Marshawn Nealon was only 24 years old. Okay, now let's get into what I mean. This is what I felt about last night's Raiders Broncos. That's how I felt about the game. I mean, to say that game was boring doesn't do the word boring justice. 10-7 with the Broncos pulling out another close win. But that game was about as boring and as sloppy as I've seen in a while, especially for a Thursday night. A Thursday night game is supposed to be a great matchup. It's supposed to be exciting, especially if you got to pay Amazon to watch it. But it's supposed to, like, work you up and get you ready. All that game did was almost put me to sleep. It almost put me to sleep. If any of y'all watched that game and you had problems sleeping, you should have watched that game. Guarantee you'd have been out by probably about midway through the third quarter. You probably would have been out like a light. Because I know I was almost out like a light. And I kept flipping back and forth from the game. Because I'm thinking it's 0-0, second quarter. And then first half. Then it's 7-7 at the half. Oh, and then Denver finally kicks a field goal. They finally made it past the 50-damn-yard line. 3-0. And then the fourth quarter was just trash. You would think both these teams are some of the worst teams, two of the worst teams in the league. Yet Denver is sitting here as 8-2. 8-2. But you cannot give this game to the offense of the Denver Broncos. They punted 6 straight times. They had 6 straight 3-and-outs in this game. The Broncos, not the Raiders. Raiders wasn't that much better. But the Broncos had 6 consecutive 3-and-outs. And people are paying to watch this? I was like, you got to be kidding me. It was just a snooze fest. If you knew what a snooze fest was, this was the definition of a snooze fest. It was just horrible. Bo Nix. Here's the question I have. The Broncos are 8-2. But here's my question. Is Bo Nix the answer for the Denver Broncos at quarterback? He's had good games and he's had some stank games. And the thing is, they're 8-2, but 5. But you got to remember, 8-2, but their only quality win was on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles. They beat the Jets, the Raiders. They beat the bottom feeders. Their 2 losses was a close loss to Indianapolis, and then a close loss. But my question is Bo Nix the answer? Last night he had pedestrian numbers, 16-28 for 150 yards, a 57% completion percentage, only 1 touchdown, 2 picks, with a rating of 54/2. That's pedestrian. That's like, okay. That's basically feels like a backup quarterback's numbers. Somebody just came off the bench when the starting QB got hurt, like halfway through the first quarter. That's what his numbers were. So my question is Bo Nix the answer for the Denver Broncos? They're sitting at 8-2. But it's a shaky 8-2. Because 5 of the 8 wins against, I think 6 of the 8 wins are coming against teams that are not very good, under 500. Like I said, the only quality win they have is against the Eagles on the road. And so my question is Bo Nix the answer? He looked pedestrian, especially the last couple of weeks. Thing is, he seems to turn it on, basically play out of his mind a little bit when the game's on the line. It's how the Broncos have been winning. He plays a little bit above, I think, his skill set when the game's on the line. All great quarterbacks do that. But Bo Nix rest of the game, he's pedestrian. And it's not like he doesn't have weapons. J.K. Dobbins, Cortland Sutherland, Franklin. He has weapons. But why is his numbers are so up and down? Last night they were just nah. You can't say he had a great game. You can't say he had a lousy game. It was just nah. And they only put up 10 points against the Raiders. Now, I knew the Broncos were going to win this game because Denver has one of the best, if not the best, defenses in all the National Football League. their defensive line is by far the best. They get after the quarterback. They sacked Geno Smith 6 times last night. And I don't know how many times they hit him, how many quarterback hits they had besides the sacks. So it wasn't like the Raiders could muster up any decent offense, especially after the first quarter. But they're not going to go too far. I know they're sitting pretty at 8-2, but I don't think they're going to challenge the likes of. They still have to play the Kansas City Chiefs twice, and I don't think they're going to be able to challenge Chiefs, Bills, maybe even the Ravens if they get their act together the next couple of weeks. I don't think they'll be able to challenge them in the playoffs because Bo Nix and the offense has been really pedestrian the last couple of weeks. They've been pulling out wins, but their offense has got to get to clicking. And Sean Payton, the head coach of the Denver Broncos, he should. I know he sees this. He has to see this, and I don't know what he's going to do to fix it. But if he plans on taking Denver to the high heights that I'm sure he wants to take them, he got to get Bo Nix right. If he's going to ride with Bo Nix, he got to get him right. He can't go into the playoffs with those pedestrian numbers and expect to win. No. The defense for Denver Broncos will always give them an opportunity to win in pretty much every game they play from here on out. But they have a great defense. But if Bo Nix don't get it right, if he don't going to get it right, I mean, yeah, okay, he dropped 44 points against the Dallas Cowboys. But we all know Dallas Cowboys defense stinks. What if he goes up against an elite defense? What's he going to do? Is he going to have those numbers and expect to win, especially in the postseason? I don't know. I don't think so. Not with the numbers he had last night. Not with a performance like that. He just got to turn that around, and he has to do it fast. He still got to deal with the Chiefs twice, and I'm pretty sure them Chiefs going to be pretty salty, especially after losing to Buffalo. I wouldn't be surprised if the Kansas City Chiefs go on a very long winning streak after this, and Denver's going to be in the way because they got to play him twice. Bo Nix needs to get this right. As for the Raiders, nothing goes right with them. This was the best defensive effort they gave all year, and they still couldn't muster up enough offense. They still couldn't muster up enough offense to get the win. It's like the Raiders in Las Vegas. You know, Las Vegas, you're supposed to have, hopefully you have Lady Luck on your side when you go to Vegas. And Lady Luck just took a day, it must have took the season off for the Raiders. Because she don't like them. Lady Luck just don't like the Raiders. I don't know why. But Lady Luck does not like the Raiders. Last week they lost because they on a failed 2-point conversion that would have won them the game. And then they lose by 3 points simply because they couldn't muster up enough offense to get one more touchdown. I mean, they got nada after the first quarter. Nada. Next. Nothing. It's like they just bad luck Raiders. That's what I call them. They just bad luck or no luck. But they fall to 2-7 as Denver Broncos sitting pretty on top of the AFC West at 8-2. But it's a shaky 8-2. It's shaky. Because one, that like I said, they've only beaten one quality team, and that's the Eagles. And they've had close wins against teams under 500. So it's shaky. I mean, win's a win. You take the win. And I wouldn't bet the house on the Denver Broncos when they make the playoffs. I would. That's just me. But a win's a win, and Denver got the win 10-7 against the Las Vegas Raiders last night. Now, it's time for Pick'em Friday. Gonna be making my picks. Oh, last week I did good. I did really good. I went 4-1 on my I went 4-1 on my college football picks, and I went 6-4 because a couple was wash. I went 6-4 on my NFL picks, so I'm getting better. Told you I was gonna get better. I told y'all I was gonna get better, and I'm getting better. Getting a little better. Figuring this out a little bit as I go, and I'm pretty sure next year I'm gonna be a whiz at this because I'm gonna delve into a lot more. But that's next year. This year, this week, this weekend, let's get into it. Here's the picks. My college football first, as you know, if you've heard or seen it, my Friday picks before, I always pick against the spread using a sports book that I will not mention, but it will be against the spread, and I will pick the over under. I picked 5 or 6 best games, or what I think will be the best games or the best matchups for the upcoming weekend, which is for college football. We're now in week 11. So here we go. First off, got a top 10 matchup out west. BYU, number 7 in the college football playoff rankings. They come in at number 7. And they're going on the road to Lubbock to take on the number 8 Texas Tech Red Raiders. Got the Red Raiders favorite at home by 10.5 with an over-under of 52.5. This could be a sucker's bet. BYU is tough. I've seen them play a couple of times. And BYU, they got a tough defense, and their offense, it may not light up points in bunches, but it gets the job done. And I'm wondering how the hell are they underdogs by 10.5, double digits. I know Texas Tech is supposed to be one of the darlings of the Big 12, but they did lose a game. They have lost one. I believe BYU is undefeated. I do believe BYU is undefeated. Texas Tech has taken the L. So what gives? I don't think the spread should be that big. 10.5. I know Texas Tech is at home. At home, they tend to light up the scoreboard a little better. But still, BYU ain't no chumps. These ain't chumps they playing. This is the BYU Cougars. They can bring it. I've seen them do it. So 10.5 is a little bit too steep for me. Now, I'm going to take Texas Tech to win it simply because they're at home. I'm going to take Texas Tech to win this game, but I like BYU to cover the 10.5. If Texas Tech wins this game, I think this game is going to be the classic Big 12 shootout, where the last team gets the ball wins. So I want to go with BYU to cover. I like Texas Tech to win. And then give me the over under 52.5. I think they're going to like the score. Both these teams going to like the scoreboard up. But I'll take the over on the 52.5. So, Texas Tech, I got them winning this game, but I have BYU to cover the 10.5. So, that game's scheduled for 12 noon kickoff. A little early action out there out west. Next on the list, we got number 3 in the college football playoff rankings. All these rankings are now based on the latest college football playoff rankings. So we got number 3, Texas A&M, going on the road to Columbia to take on number 22, Missouri Tigers. A&M is favored by 6.5 with an over-under of 48.5. No, everybody knows Missouri needs to win this game. A&M is one of those teams, they're in a sweet spot. They can afford to lose a game. Along with Ohio State, Indiana. Those teams, they can afford to have a hiccup, if you would say. They can afford one and still make it to the college football playoff, no problem. For Texas A&M, though, they can separate themselves from the pack with a blowout win on the road against Missouri. And it will send Missouri, it will end any chance, and I mean any chance, of Missouri making the college football playoff. But Missouri's tough at home. They did beat Vanderbilt. They gave Alabama everything they wanted. So, I don't know. This is a tough one to call. Again, they beat Vanderbilt. They gave Alabama everything they want at home. And a 6.5 point spread is a little steep for a team that's ranked in the top 25. Even though they might be little ranked, even though they might be, you know, without their starting quarterback. But I'm going to give Texas A&M the nod on this one, simply because Missouri is missing their starting quarterback. I think he's out for the season. So I'm going to give Texas A&M. This is one of my shakier picks. I'm going to take Texas A&M and lay the 6.5. Only because Missouri's missing their starting quarterback. But I would not be surprised if Missouri pulls off the upset. I wouldn't be surprised one bit. Like I said, they played really, really tough at home. They played really, really tough at home. But for this game, I'm going to take A&M and lay the 6.5. I'm going to get the over-under of 48.5. I'm going to take the under with this one. I'm going to take the under on the 48.5. And I'm going to take Texas A&M to remain unbeaten and cover and lay the 6.5. That game is scheduled for 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Now, of course, I'm going to throw in Ohio State. You know I am, even though I really shouldn't. But I ain't wearing this shirt and this hat just to blow by them. No. Now, the number one, we all know, they're playing Purdue. In Purdue. Current odds are Ohio State has a 29.5 point favor with an over-under of 48.5. Traditionally, Purdue plays Ohio State pretty tough. In 2018, they blew Ohio State out. I mean, they blew them out the water. I believe in 2018 or 2019. They blew Ohio State away and cost Ohio State a chance to make the college football playoff. That's when it was just 4 teams. But they blew Ohio State. So it's not like Purdue doesn't know that it hasn't come up big against Ohio State in previous years. They have. But they ain't doing it today. They ain't doing it Saturday. No. That's not happening. It ain't going to happen. The only question about this one is, how bad Ohio State going to beat them? Or are they going to beat them bad enough to cover the 29.5 point spread? My answer is no. I don't think Ohio State is going to beat Purdue that bad on the road to cover 29.5 points. I love the Buckeyes, and I hope they do. I just don't see that happening on the road. And it's going to be cold up there. Cold, post snow. It's football time in Ohio and in Indiana. Cold, snow. It's that type of weather. So that might slow down Ohio State's offense, especially the passing game a little. Just a little bit. Not a lot. Ain't going to slow them down a lot. Just slow down a little bit. Just a little bit. To where Purdue might be able to cover that spread. So, Ohio State will win, no doubt. But I'm going to pick Purdue to cover the 29.5 points. They are improving by little. I mean, they pushed Michigan last week in Ann Arbor. They pushed them. Only lost by 5 in Ann Arbor. So they're they're improving little by little. So do I think they'll give Ohio State a little bit of a push? Probably. For maybe a quarter, maybe a half. Then Ohio State's going to do what they do and put them in the dust. However, I like Purdue to cover the spread on this one. I told you guys, I might be a Buckeyes fan, but I call it like I see it. And I see 29.5 points against Purdue on the road might be a little bit too steep. So give me the Buckeyes to win the game. I'll take Purdue to cover the 29.5 points. And I will go over on the over-under of 48.5. That game is scheduled, or if anybody bothers to watch it, that game is scheduled for 1 o'clock Eastern. Next, big matchup in the Big Ten. Huge matchup in the Big Ten. Could be a playoff eliminator for one of these teams. For both of these teams, this could be a playoff eliminator. And you thought another year sitting there looking like, what is he talking about? A playoff eliminator, Big Ten. We got number 9 Oregon on the road and to face Iowa Hawkeyes. That's right, the number 20 Iowa Hawkeyes. People been sleeping on the Iowa Hawkeyes, but they have quietly gotten to 6-2. Quietly. I mean, they probably been so quiet, people ain't really paid attention. There are only 2 losses with Iowa State on a field goal, and to Indiana on a late touchdown. Only lost by 5. Those are the only 2 losses. They're actually putting up points. They're averaging over 31 points a game. Yes, Iowa. The team that for the last 2-3 years, if they scored 20 points in the game, it was a miracle. Well, they putting up points this year, and they're shutting teams down. They blanked Wisconsin 37-0 in their house. So they putting up points, and they playing that defense that if you're a Big Ten enthusiast, you know Iowa comes with the defense. That's one thing that's been constant under their head coach, Kirk Ferentz. They come with the defense every year. They always have a strong defense. Well, now they're scoring points too. So this game is a little intriguing to me. You got Oregon, and Oregon, let's face it, the Ducks are not the Ducks of last year, where they were just bludgeoning teams. They're not doing that. And especially ever since they lost to Indiana, they just been like, okay, we're doing just enough. Well, you can't do just enough playing in Iowa. No, you got to come a little better than that. And Dan Lanning, I hope Dan Lanning is preaching that to his players. This is a tough Iowa team. And like I said, they've quietly gotten to 6-2. Only 1 loss in conference. So they're still in play to go to the Big Ten championship. And if Iowa can win out, they beat Oregon, and they got 1 more others. If they can win out, they could be a sneaky backdoor pick to get into the college football playoff. That's right. Iowa. Yes, the Hawkeyes. Iowa. If they win out, and I know a few other dominoes might have to fall from teams in front of them, but if they win out, beating Oregon, beating everybody else on their schedule, I wouldn't be surprised if they're a backdoor pick for the college football playoff. So this could be an eliminator game. Oregon, they've already lost the game. They got to stay in front of the pack. You know what I mean? If they lose this game, their odds of making the college football playoff can probably go under 10%. Depending on how the teams behind them do. But with 2 losses, especially 2 in-conference losses, If Oregon loses this game, woo-wee, this is gonna turn college football playoff rankings upside down. Trust me. There might be a couple other games that might turn the college, but this is one of them. Oregon and Iowa. And the spread got Oregon at 6.5 with an over and under of 42.5. I don't like that spread. And I think Iowa, like I said, I think Iowa, especially, this is probably one of their biggest games they've had in recent years at home. You can best believe they're going to be up for it. Those fans in Iowa are going to be loud and crazy, and they're going to be up for this one. So give me Iowa, and I'll take the 6.5 because I think Iowa will win this game outright by at least 10 points. That's how strong I'm thinking of Iowa nowadays. Now, I remember saying for years, all Iowa needs to do is learn how to score points, and they're going to be just fine. I think they finally learned. So I'm going to take Iowa, and I'll take the 6.5. And give me the over under 42.5. I'm going to take the under on that one. I'm going to take the under on this one. But give me Iowa, and I'll take the 6.5. That looks like it's going to be a very good game. Probably the best game for the Big Ten this weekend. No doubt. That game starts at 3:30 Eastern. We'll get a couple of more in. We got... Oh, yeah. I have to pick this game. I don't want to, but I'm going to pick it anyway. We got LSU. After a bye week and after all the mess they gone to with firing the coach, firing the athletic director, firing the president, and the governor getting involved, and la da dee, la da da, they got to go to Alabama. Number 14 in the college football playoff. They got to go to Alabama. Now, Alabama is favored by 10.5 with an over-under of 49.5. Now, here's the question. How's LSU going to approach this game? They're still 5-3. It's not like they're scrubs. I know 5-3 down there in the bayou ain't good enough. Obviously, it's not good enough. They fired their head coach. But got an interim head coach in. They've had a bye week to absorb all this, get it all out of their system. The anguish, the transition, all that. They've had a bye week to absorb all this. How they gonna play on the road in Tuscaloosa? They've always played Alabama tough in Alabama. Picked them off a couple times, but you were thinking, well, Alabama is on the road. Kyle Simpson should be in the Heisman Trophy. Blah blah blah. You're right. You're right, and you would be right. They're on the road, knocking off ranked teams in the SEC left, right, up, and down. But they did struggle very much to beat South Carolina. So I'm wondering if Alabama plays into the syndrome of playing down to the competition. Now, LSU ain't no scrubs, but they ain't all the way up there either. So I'm wondering what Alabama team is going to show up this weekend at home. Are they going to be the team that's been dominating and running through all these ranked teams they've been playing? Or are they going to be the one that plays down to the level of competition and needs some kind of miracle to pull out a win? That's what I need to see from Alabama. I'm going to pick Alabama to end the 10.5. I'm a little leery about it, like I said, because we need to see how LSU is going to respond now that they have a new interim head coach. What they're going to look like on offense. I know they have a strong defense, but what they're going to look like on offense. Are they going to open up the playbook? Are they going to finally run the ball? Are they going to finally throw the ball downfield instead of doing check downs and getting knocked out and having to punt? I like to see. Wrong team to try to do it against, but I like to see. Give me Alabama minus the 10.5. I will go under on the over-under 49.5. Like I said, LSU always plays Bama tough in Tuscaloosa. Always does. Always does. I don't think they'll do enough to win this game, but they always do. So, LSU, Alabama. I got Alabama minus the 10.5, and I'll take the under on the 49.5 over under. That game is Saturday night, 7:30 Eastern. So, those are my picks for week 11 in the college football weekend schedule. I know there's some other good games, but those are, to me, those are the best. Those are 5 best. The big game, I think, will be Oregon and Iowa. That's going to be the big game because that could knock a team out of not just the Big Ten, but the college football playoff. So keep an eye on that. All right? Big old one, with the big mouth in the cold sports ozone. Now let's move on to the NFL. Now I do all the NFL teams except for the Thursday night. I already did that, but I do all the NFL teams again against the spread. So let's start it. First game will be Sunday morning. Get up early for this one if you're a fan of either one of these teams. They're playing in Germany. The Atlanta Falcons and the Indianapolis Colts. They're going to be playing in Deutschland, Berlin, Germany. So this is an early game for us early risers on Sunday. We got the Colts favored by 6.5 with over under 48.5. Now, Colts had a bad game last week. It happened. Daniel Jones, what did he have? 4 interceptions, four turnovers, was sacked a bunch of times. Had a bad game. Can he turn it around? Is that just an anomaly? Was that game against Pittsburgh just an anomaly, or was it going to continue a bad trend for Daniel Jones and Indianapolis Colts? And I believe their new trade acquisition, Sauce Gardner, is online to play this Sunday against the Falcons. He still has to clear concussion protocol from that bunk on the head he got last week when he was with the Jets. But if he clears concussion protocol, he will start this Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons always disappoint me. Like I said earlier in one of my other podcasts, just when I think the Falcons have turned the corner to respectability, that step blows up in my face. They've lost the last 2 games, getting blown out at home by the Miami Dolphins, and then because they couldn't kick a point after straight, lost to the New England Patriots. All because they couldn't kick a point after straight. So my faith in the Falcons is gone. Let's just face it. I got no faith in the Falcons. I don't care if they're going on a massive run all the way to the Super Bowl. I have no faith in them. I can't. At one point, they had one of the best defenses in the league, and now I'm afraid. I'm wondering, can they stop anybody? Now you're going up against these Colts, Daniel Jones, Taylor, and all these boys, and you go overseas. And let's face it, the Falcons don't fare well overseas on the road. They don't. I don't think they might have won maybe one road game this year, maybe. I have to look it up. But they don't fare too well away from the confines of Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. They don't fare too well. It looks like they're going to be, that's what they're running into this weekend. And I don't like it. I got to take the Colts. I just don't have the faith in the Falcons to cover the spread. I think they're going to do some boneheaded to blow the game, and the Colts will take advantage and get the win. So I'll take the Colts minus the 6.5. Over under 48.5. I'll take the under on this one. I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring in this game, one side or the other. So I'll take the Indianapolis Colts minus the 6.5 with the over under. I'll go under on the over under of 48.5. That game is scheduled for 9:30 Eastern Time Sunday morning. So get up, shake the cobweb, get your coffee, and turn it on the NFL Network to watch that game. Next, Jacksonville Jaguars head to Houston to take on the Texans. Jaguars are favored by a point and a half with an over-under of 37.5. Well, all the CJ Stroud ain't playing, they ain't winning. That's simple as that. If CJ Stroud's hurt, they ain't got a chance. I'm sorry. You just don't have a chance. They don't have enough offense. Without CJ Stroud, they don't have enough offense to muster up enough to take out the Jacksonville Jaguars. And the Jaguars are just like they're like right there, but they ain't there. If you know what I mean? They there, but nobody's really talking about them. You know what I mean? They just like, okay, we see you, we don't see you. We don't believe in you yet. I guess it's because you would think after the Jaguars, their signature win this year was against the Chiefs. You would think that after that win, everybody would be on notice with the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know, you'd have them on notice. It's not turning out that way. It's like, okay, you beat the Chiefs and still show me something. But I believe the Jaguars are turning the corner. I think so. So I believe they're turning the corner. Finally. All these years, I think they're finally turning the corner. So I take the Jag, especially with in this game with no CJ Stroud. I will take the Jaguars minus the point and a half. I think they'll win by more than that, personally. Give me the over under 37.5. I'm gonna take the over on this. I think they would, both teams might put up a few points, entertain the crowd, but Jacksonville just do a little bit better. So, Jaguars minus the point and a half, and I'll take the over on the 37.5. That game scheduled for 1 o'clock Eastern. Next, got the New York Giants going to the Windy City to take on the Chicago Bears. Bears favored by 4.5 with an over-under of 46.5. Now, Jackson Dart on the road. Yeah, I got to forget. I tend to forget. Excuse me. He's a rookie, and he does not have his backfield mate Cam Scatterboo. But Dart is a tough cookie. He even when the game's been decided, he's still out there slinging it, throwing his body around, running for first downs. I know the coaches talked to him about that. You can't be running with reckless abandon out there and you take that one good hit, you be out 2 to 4 weeks. You got to be careful. Run aggressive, but run smart. If it ain't, I'm pretty sure his coach has talked to him about that. I hope he has. Especially seeing that he is the future for the New York Giants at quarterback. But in this game, I got to go with the Bears. They're at home. They're fired up. They're playing decent ball. They're playing decent ball for a change. And that miracle win they pulled off last week against the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, it was a miracle win. I'm pretty sure they're feeling themselves right now. The Chicago Bears. Oh, they finally got an easy game at home. Or so they think. It's an easy game at home. And I know the Bears, like I said, the Bears got to be feeling themselves after pulling out that win last week in Cincinnati. So I'm going to take the Bears minus the 4.5, and I'll go under on the over-under 46.5. The Bears are feeling themselves now. You hear me? They're feeling themselves. Let's see how long they can make that last, especially in NFC North. That game is 1 o'clock Eastern. Next, got the Baltimore Ravens on the road against the Minnesota Vikings. Baltimore is favored by 4.5 with an over-under 48.5. Now, we saw Lamar Jackson come back against the Dolphins. You look good. You look good. You know, you had a little rust at the beginning, but then Lamar became Lamar. Derrick Henry became Derrick Henry. And the defense, well, you're playing the Dolphins. How bad a defense do you have to be to beat the Dolphins? Okay. But I'm still trying to wrap my brain around, is Lamar coming back going to help the Ravens take off and become that Super Bowl contender everybody thought they would be? I don't think Lamar's the factor. If he stays healthy, they're going to put up points. It's the defense that we need to worry about if you're a Ravens fan. And you all know I'm right. The defense has been leaking like Sears with the Swiss cheese in the line and all that. Yeah, I know they had a lot of injuries, but still, you got to stop somebody. And there's no sense scoring 30 if you give up 35. And that's my worry against the Ravens, with the Ravens against the Vikings. I mean, the Vikings just beat Detroit in Detroit. Something the Ravens couldn't beat the Lions at home. And Minnesota brought it to the Detroit Lions in their house. So this line here, it's a little shaky to me. I think so. I think it's shaky. But I'm going to go with the Ravens in this one. I'm going to reserve the right to change my opinion or change my mind on this one as the weekend goes along. But I'm going to go with the Ravens in this one simply because I think with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, if they were back on the same page, this offense is almost unstoppable. I really do. So I'm going to take the Ravens and give the 4.5 away. And I'm going to go over on the 48.5. Neither one of these teams' defenses is the greatest, although Minnesota did slow a potent Detroit offense down last week. It slowed them down enough to get the dub. I wonder if they'll be able to slow down the Ravens in their house. We'll see. My mind says no, they won't. I'll take the Ravens and the 4.5. Not the 4. I'll give away the 4.5. All right. That game is set for 1 o'clock Eastern. Next, Browns and Jets. I don't even want to pick this one. Give me the Jets. I don't care what the spread is. I told y'all a long time ago, I ain't never picking the Browns. The cover or the win outright. Not this year. For the rest of this year, not picking the Browns for nothing. They inept on offense, wasting a good defense. They ain't got nobody to throw the ball to. They got a rookie quarterback who can barely see over the line. I ain't picking the Browns to win this game. Not your mind. And if you smart, you wouldn't pick them either. I know they're favored by 2.5 over the 1-7. 1-7 Jets. Who cares? Don't pick the Browns. Don't. If you have to pick it, don't sit this bet out. Because all they're going to do is let you down. They don't have no offense. I bet you they lose this game on a field goal. It would be like 10-7 or 13-10 or something like that. Give me the Jets. I'll take the 2.5. And I'll go under on 37.5. Because I don't think either one of these teams is going to score 20 points. That game is scheduled for 1 o'clock. Next, the New Orleans Saints on the road against the Carolina Panthers. Panthers favored by 5.5 with over on 38.5. Saints are pretty much let go of the season, and rightfully so. They stink. All the players they traded away at the trade deadline, that tells me they're just stocking up draft picks, draft capital for the future, and that's what they should do. They're not going anywhere this year. They're not. However, the Carolina Panthers sitting pretty. They right in the mix for a wild card spot. They're right in the mix at 5-3 for a wild card spot. Who would have thunk it? With Bryce Young and they got Chuba Hubbard, they got some weapons, and they don't scare nobody. They don't get scared of any team. They don't get scared at home on the road. They're not scared. They just play. Yeah, they look bad against Buffalo, but then they go with the Green Bay and get a win. They're not scared. That's what's intriguing to me about the Panthers. They don't play scared. They ain't scared of who they got to play or where. They don't care. They just gonna go out there and play and let the chips fall where they may. And that's what I like from any professional sports team. Go out there and don't play scared. You just play your ass off and let the chips fall where they may. And the Panthers are showing me that they're doing that. They're capable of doing that every week. So give me the Carolina Panthers minus the 5.5. I mean, this is like an easy game for them. I believe this will be an easy game. The New Orleans Saints ain't nothing. They're not going nowhere. So this is like a breather game for the Saints, for the Panthers, if they treat it as such. Over under 38.5, I'm going to go under. I don't see the Saints scoring too many points. They're dreadful on the road. So I'm not going to see them scoring 15, 20, 25 points on the road. They're not built that way. Again, give me the Panthers minus the 5.5, and I'll take the under on the 38.5 over under. That game is scheduled for 1 o'clock Eastern. Next, got the Buffalo Bills heading down to South Beach, or close to it, to take on the Miami Dolphins. With the Bills favored by 9.5 with over under 49.5. Now, Bills are coming off their second best win of the season after beating the Kansas City Chiefs at home. Will they play down to the level of their competition? Will they have a letdown game? Yes, I know it happens in college and it happens in the NFL too. You beat a team that you've been eyeing at, you've been looking forward to playing, and you beat them. And then the next week you have a letdown because you're playing some chumps. Will the Bills overcome that? Will the Bills go down there and take care of business? Now, I heard on First Take this morning that Stephen A. said it would have been nice for the Buffalo Bills to trade for another receiver for Josh Allen, and I agree. I think he needs another wide receiver. Period. He got a good running back, but he needs somebody else to throw the ball to that will command a double team. They do that, and their defense needs to round back into shape. It's still wishy-washy to me. But if they do that and the defense, get it together, the Bills will be right there. But as far as this game, they should use this game as a way to fix things, to fine-tune some things. Well, let's face it, the Dolphins are who the Dolphins are. They're simple as that. I can't say any more than that. They stink. They stink. Against high-level competition, they stink. So it ain't about the Bills winning this game. It's about how much. Do you think they're going to win by 9.5? I do. I think they'll win by double digits. 2 or more scores in Miami. Give me the Bills minus the 9.5, and I'll take the under on the over-under 49.5. That game is scheduled for 1 o'clock Eastern. All right. Last 1 o'clock game of the day will be New England heading to Tampa Bay, to take on Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bucks are favored by 2.5 with over under 48.5. Now this is going to be a good matchup with good quarterbacks, Drake May and Baker Mayfield. The winner of this game, I think, should have a leg up in who becomes MVP. Whoever wins this game, New England against Tampa Bay, the quarterback of the winning team might have a leg up based on their performance on who becomes who might be in the running or be a high favorite to become league MVP. I'm just saying. This might be a good game to keep an eye on over the weekend. You got Drake May, great young quarterback. You got Tampa Bay Bucks and Baker Mayfield, who's like probably the biggest reclamation projects this side of Daniel Jones. And I think this is going to be one hell of a matchup, even though I know Tampa Bay's banged up. But that's what makes it so intriguing. Tampa Bay's been banged up all year, and yet they still find ways to win. I wouldn't be surprised if this one comes down to the very end, the last 2 minutes. Inside the last 2 minutes of the game. I wouldn't be surprised. But I think Tampa Bay will pull it out just like they've been doing all year. Give me the Bucks minus 2.5, and I'll take the under on a 48.5. I think the Bucks will find a way to pull out a close game late, like they've been doing all year. That game's at 1 o'clock. Then we got some 4 o'clock games. Arizona goes up the Pacific Northwest to take on the Seahawks. Seahawks are favored by 6.5 with over under 44.5. No doubt, I'll take the Seahawks. Arizona, you ain't playing the Dallas Cowboy defense. You playing Seattle Seahawks. And they ain't 7-2 for nothing. They ain't 7-2 for nothing. And you're not gonna have that easily throwing around the ball like you had it in Arlington, Texas. You're not gonna have it that easy in the Pacific Northwest, especially with that crowd noise. Give me the Seahawks -6, and Sam Darnold. He could be, he's also one of those quarterbacks that could be right there in the mix to win league MVP. Who knew? Sam Darnold. It's crazy. Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, those guys were the same draft class. Nobody thought nothing of them. But now look at them. Both leading their teams to good records as we hit just past the halfway mark of the season. Who knew, huh? Give me the Seahawks -6.5. I'll take the over on this one at 44.5. I just think Seattle got way too much firepower, and Jackson Smith and Jigba is on pace to become a 2,000-yard receiver, and I hope he gets it. So, Seattle -6.5 with the over-under. I'll take the over on the 44.5. That game is scheduled for 4 o'clock Eastern. Next, we got the Rams. We got the 49ers. Out there in San Jose or wherever they play. This is a good game matchup too. This might determine who. This might be this is the second time they're meeting, and this might go a long way determining who wins the NFC West. I know you can't forget about Seattle, but this could go a long way towards that. We got the Rams favored by 4.5 with over under 49.5. I guess the betting public or the sports books don't believe in Mac Jones too much. At least not in this matchup. They don't believe in him. Why not? I know the 49ers are banged up a little bit, but they still winning. This keep winning. And this Christian McCaffrey playing? This Kittle playing? They got a chance. I'm going to take the 49ers in this one. That's right. Give me the 49ers. And I'll take the 4.5. Thank you. I think they're going to pull this game out. I'm a believer in Mac Jones. I wouldn't be surprised if he becomes the permanent starting quarterback over Brock Purdy. Hey, it's just like what happened with Tom Brady and Drew Bledsoe and the New England Patriots way back in 2000 when Drew Bledsoe got hurt and Tom Brady came in and he just started balling out. And Belichick had to make that decision. He went with Tom Brady. The rest is history. The same thing might play out here in San Francisco if Mac Jones keep balling the way he been balling. Brock Purdy might be the odd man out. Who knows? But I'm believing in Mac Jones. So I'm going to take the 49ers and give me the 4.5. And I'll take the under on the over under 49.5. I believe Mac Jones is handling business. And I think he's going to handle business some more this weekend. That's a 4:30 start. Next, we got the Detroit Lions against the Washington Commanders. Washington is just not good. It's just not a good team no more. They used to be. Not anymore. I don't know what happened to them. I wish I knew. And maybe his injuries, Jalen Daniels taking a step back. I don't know what happened. Those close games that the Commanders used to pull out, they haven't been doing that lately. I mean, they got murdered by Seattle last Sunday. I mean, murdered in their house. Now you got the Detroit Lions, who just came off a pretty a loss at home, coming in your house. It's like it just ain't getting no better for them, is it? I'll take the Lions minus the 8.5 with the over under 48.5. Now this could change for me. I know it's a big margin for the Lions on the road. I'm gonna still take it because I think they just got more firepower than the Commanders do. They just got more firepower, and I think they're gonna be very angry, especially after how they lost at home to the Vikings last week. And they're gonna take it out on the Commanders. Give me the Lions minus the 8.5, over under 48.5. I'll take the over on it. That is a 4:30 kickoff Eastern time as well. Nick, the Sunday night game. Pittsburgh heading out to Los Angeles to take on the LA Chargers. With the Chargers holding a 2.5 point spread as the favorite with an over under of 44.5. It's all about this. What version of Aaron Rodgers we're going to get, and what version of the Pittsburgh defense are we going to get? We're going to get the defense that came close to, being the steel curtain against the Indianapolis Colts. Or are we going to get the defense that stuck up the joint against the Green Bay Packers? Which defense we going to get? A or B? I don't even know no more. We'll find out. Because you're going against the Chargers and Justin Herbert. So you better have that defense you had last week. Because if you had that defense you had against the Green Bay Packers, it's going to be a long day for the Chargers. It's going to be a long day for the Steelers. A long day. And Aaron Rodgers. What version of Aaron Rodgers? He's been okay. But he hasn't been Aaron Rodgers of old. He's just been okay, Aaron Rodgers. I know the Steelers fans would like to have Aaron Rodgers of like the old, of Green Bay Aaron Rodgers. That's what the Steelers need if they want to hold off the Ravens in the AFC North. They need Aaron Rodgers to be old Aaron Rodgers. And they need that steel curtain defense back. Because right now, I don't know which version of the defense shows up week to week. I just don't know. Is it going to be the one, the defense they played against the Colts? Or is it going to be the crappy defense they played against the Packers? Let me know. Until then, I got to take the Chargers, minus 2.5. I just don't know what's the Steelers' end game from week to week. I just don't know. When I do know, I can make better decisions about the Steelers. Until then, Chargers, minus 2.5. I'll take the under on the over-under, 44.5. That game is the Sunday night game, scheduled for 8:15. And finally, the Monday night game. This ought to be a good one. This ought to be the one. This should be the game of the weekend. And it's on Monday night. You got Philadelphia Eagles heading to Lambeau Field to take on the Packers. With the Green Bay Packers favored by 1.5 with over under 44.5. Now, it's the same thing with the Packers. What version of them are we going to get? Are we going to get that version that beat up on the Steelers? or we're going to get that version that laid the egg at home against the Panthers? What what Bryce Love are we going to get? We're going to get the Steelers whoop their ass, Bryce Love, or we're going to get the Panthers running for your life, Bryce Love? What we going to get? Which version? Odds makers say we're going to get the version barely that beat up on the Steelers. But you playing the defending world champions. And if you want to show not just the NFC, the NFL, but the entire world that you're the next one, you're the next one to take the Eagles' place as far as reigning in the NFC, you better handle business Monday night. Bryce Love, Michael Parsons, and the rest of the Packers, this is your showcase. This is your showcase game. It's time for you to show the world what you're made of. I'm going to pick the Packers to win this game by 1.5. I'm an over-under. I'm going to go over the 44.5. I'm going to pick them, but it's a very reluctant pick because I still don't know what version of Bryce Love and the Green Bay Packers I'm going to get from week to week. I guess I'm favoring the version that beat up the Steelers on the road in Pittsburgh. I guess that's the version I'm favoring. We'll find out. Give me the Packers and the 1.5. Lay the 1.5 with over under 44.5. That game is Monday night, 8:15 Eastern. So those are my picks for week 10 in the NFL season. What do you think? Did I make a pick you didn't like? Should I pick somebody else on one of these games? What do you think? Drop a comment. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what I'm saying. You like how loud I'm saying it, or you got a problem with it. Hit the like and subscribe and let me know. All right? It's time to go. Let's enjoy all this good football for the weekend. And I'll check you back Monday so we can recap all of these happenings. And let's see if we see another coach get fired in college football. Who knows? It's like it's been a coach getting fired every weekend. After every weekend, the last 3 weeks in college football. Will that finally end this weekend? Will every coach in college football actually make it to Monday? We'll find out. Have a great weekend, and I'll check you back here Monday in the Total Sports Ozone.